I was 18 when the atom bomb dropped, and I became a victim of radiation from it. My life of one operation after another began a few years later. For many years, my physical pain became more and more excruciating. I thought I should end it all for the sake of everybody. In fact, I decided to commit suicide 2 different times and to take my children along with me. But today, after witnessing this tremendous event, I realize that I still have much more to accomplish.
I was feeling very helpless, and rather than sitting around and complaining and saying there was nothing I could do, I decided to do whatever I could.
I think it's time to end war, and I think this is the beginning of the end of war.
I don't think of it in terms of courage as much as I do necessity. It just seems like something that has to be done.
We can't fail. We can't fail. It's gonna be a very, very hard struggle. This is only the beginning.
If the Congress and the Senate would agree and America have, would the Russians agree? When you ask the people over there, ask them, what do you think about it? Would they let them?
You and I can say we can disarm, but if the people who run this whole world don't do it, there's nothing we can do.
I always thought when I was old, I was going to grow up and have a lot of kids, a family and everything. And I've decided that I don't want to have kids. I don't want to have a house. I don't want to have a car. I just want to live one day at a time, because if I have kids and there is a nuclear war or something like that, I don't want them to have to face that. Not at all.
We will all plant a tree as a sign of hope for the future, for our children. We come from the north. We bring the soil of North Dakota, Illinois, Connecticut, Toronto, Canada, Rochester, New York. We come from the west, California, Kansas. We come from the south, and we bring the soil of Atlanta and Decatur, Georgia. We come from the east, Reading, Pennsylvania, Princeton, New Jersey, from in front of the building where the A-bomb was secretly planned. From Moscow, USSR, Hiroshima, Japan, and from Rome, Italy, from the catacombs.
It was 37 years ago. I was just 10 years old. The war was getting severer and severer. We are practically living in the air raid shelter. However, on the 9th of August 1945, the air raid warning was called off. Therefore, people returned to their normal life, and especially children went outside to play. I returned to the air raid shelter and I started to play.
45年8月9日の11時2分、ピカッと光ったのです。
The bomb exploded exactly 2 minutes past 11 o'clock. I saw the flash. I was blown out by blast. When I regained my consciousness, I realized I was in the midst of charcoaled bodies, or the people at the verge of dying, or gasping and asking for help and water.
水をください、水をください、助けてくださいという人、肉がちぎれ、目が飛び出し、耳がなくなって髪の毛がなくなっている人たちで、壕の中はゴーゴーとなっていっぱいになっておりました。
It was the sight of the shelter. There are so many people who we couldn't even recognize whether they are men or women. Their eyes popped out, their flesh torn out, the glass bits went into their flesh, their hair blown out.
男か女かわからない人でいっぱいです。
They are asking water and asking for help.
On June 12th, thousands of people will gather at the United Nations and in Central Park to call for an immediate end to nuclear weapons.
I'm Liza Minnelli, and I want to keep on entertaining.
I'm Hector Rivera. I want to keep on delivering the mail.
I'm Mark Gastineau, and I want to keep on playing football.
I'm E.L. Doctorow. I'd like to keep writing.
I'm Joanne Woodward, and I want to keep on acting.
I'm Anthony Barnes, and I'd like to keep on teaching.
I'm Leon Lobel. I want to keep on cutting steaks.
Jerry Stiller and Ann Mira.
And we want to keep on working together.
I'm Leonard Bernstein, and I'd like to go on making music.
I want to keep on living.
Ich möchte weiterleben.
Yo quiero seguir viviendo.
Join us on June 12th in Central Park. For more information or to volunteer, call 674-3708.
An emergency number. This is a call from Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
The main march will go along 42nd Street and then up 7th Avenue. And then up 5th Avenue also, and converge in the Great Lawn in Central Park. There'll be also feeder marches from, let's say, Harlem and Lower East Side, Staten Island, Brooklyn.
Make it to this last meeting tonight. They can stop into this office.
Oh, they can.
Anytime, today or tomorrow.
Okay.
And we have the information.
Okay, the press briefing once again is 9:30 in Central Park
You
at
have housing
81st.
available? All right. I'll take the information. What is your name?
Would you be interested in helping as a peacekeeper along the way of the march and at the site in the park?
With sleeping beds. All right, and it's good, great housing because we're having a hard time getting housing in Manhattan now.
They're going to go up Central Park West and enter the Great Lawn here.
Must be other devices.
Well, we're going to
20 or 30
that.
trailers brought up.
The whole thing.
Which you
From
could
here
go live
out,
to.
you have to be pulled out that way.
Maybe I'm totally wrong, but I see it every day.
We're talking about two vehicles, one for ABC Network News and one for CBS Network News. It's the way they operate in parades and other areas, and this makes sense to work that way there.
The police are going to freeze this entire area starting tonight. No one will be allowed in this area. That is so that when labor, the international, the elderly disabled, and the other contingents come in, they can fill these areas. We're going to have James Taylor, Rita Marley, people such as this performing. We don't want people just to be coming into the park to have a picnic. We're here for a political purpose, and the entertainment is part of that, but the purpose is to send a message to Washington.
They're gonna march with these up in the air. I hear those weapons. You know what I'm gonna write on my next one? Life is very
to make it shorter. I came from Concord, New Hampshire, on Academy Street, black shutter, glass house on Academy Street. I am here to help stop bombs.
We're the future of this world. If we do something about it now, it'll last us all our life. And we'll remember this day for a long time to come. And we get to be political people. We'll say this to the president, or we'll be the president, and we'll know what it is, and we'll do something about it.
If we could become friends, if I'll become friends with him, maybe I'll be the leader of the USSR and he'll be the leader of USA. Our countries will be friends if we stay friends, because we're the future.
No nukes, Jamie. Come on.
No.
No what?
No.
The march of the children's contingent reminded me of the horrible fate of a group of little children in Hiroshima. I found them in a heap, burnt to death. This happened 37 years ago, but it is so vivid even now that it seems it's only 5 or 10 years ago. The picture never leaves my mind. So when I saw the children, I thought to myself, what if a bomb is dropped on them? I shivered at the thought. I plead with you all that you will never allow such a thing to happen again.
How long did it take you to walk across the United States?
7.5 months. We went to New Mexico and Arizona and Texas and Oklahoma and Kansas, Missouri and Ohio, West Virginia and Indiana and Maryland, New Jersey and New York.
These petitions are gathered by all over the world people. These are 30 million signatures.
It gives me great pleasure to welcome you to this petition presentation ceremony. The presence of each of you is a moving testimony of the great desire of men and women all over the globe for peace. The Secretary General of the United Nations is here with us today to accept your sample petitions.
It is heartening for all of us here, and for me personally, to see so many of you who have come today to present petitions for peace from millions of people around the globe. It must strengthen in all of us the hope that disarmament is not merely a mirage, but a reality which can spring from the world's people and from their governments in an affirmation of life against the horror of war, and above all, the threat of nuclear catastrophe.
Seek peace and pursue it. Seek peace and pursue it. Seek peace and pursue it. Peace and pursue it. Seek peace and pursue it. Seek peace and pursue it. Seek peace and pursue it.
Lord, in the face of inadequate and deceptive arms control, we pray that all nations, especially the United States and Russia, will agree to stop testing, preparing to use, or using any more nuclear weapons as a step toward total disarmament.
Shalom, 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 shalom. Sing praise, how sweet the sound that saves.
Every hour, a different religious order or tradition or group is out here for this vigil that will go all night until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. And I think by the commitment of these people to be out here all night and to give up their sleep, this is a symbolic way of saying that we're not going to go away, we're going to continue on this for years and decades if that is necessary.
You're first up here. There you are. Okay. Very good. Good to see you. Our responsibility is the two entrances to the park on the west side. We're going to have peacekeepers along here to just sort of direct the flow. And there's a narrow lane here that people might want to take. What we've got to do is work them this way because this is wider and it'll help the flow of the march.
Hey, where are you? Are you trying to look in the car?
Tens of thousands of Americans will be coming from all over the United States to participate in the disarmament demonstration. We wish to convey to you our deepest thanks and appreciation for your help and cooperation in what undoubtedly will be a situation that will tax your collective patience, good humor, and stamina.
Come on, get moving. Let's see, Manhattan, Bronx. All right, when you get down there, the sergeant will tell you we're dividing you up by borough. So. Okay. All right, now it's all clear.
children lie safe in bed at night. As low as we've gone, now the ocean is calm. And here comes the turn of the tide. Here comes the turn. Here comes the turn. Here comes the turn of the tide. We heard the alarms of a gathering storm. The sea was so dark, the light had died. Then captains and kings and mothers and sons all gathered together side by side for the soldier who laughed, the baby who cried. Here comes the turn of the tide. Here comes the turn. Here comes the turn. Here comes the turn of the tide. Here comes the turn. Here comes the turn. Here comes the turn of the tide. Here comes the turn. Here comes the turn. Here comes the turn of the tide.
Jeremiah said that the people took to the streets. I think that's what we need to do. If we're going to reach peace, we have to walk on the way of peace and walk together as one.
This is sort of the ultimate movement, isn't it? If we don't stop this, there's nothing else to fight for.
You can't be alive and sane without being involved. I don't. So one way or another, you can choose to ignore the involvement, but I'm involved because I'm alive.
I had never done this before, and I wanted to be counted at some time during my life. This is very crucial. I think it's a world emergency.
I'm here with the other performing artists for nuclear disarmament. I'm marching with that group, which are all around me, and it's the whole theatrical community of New York, I think.
The way this situation was set up was the various groups were assigned streets where their people were to mass. They have done that, and you just see this crush of humanity poised and waiting to come out onto First Avenue to march past the speaker's platform here. We understand that there are possibly 5,000 people in each street, so if we assume that there are 6 streets, that would be about 30,000 people right here, but there's really no way of knowing exactly how many there are gathered to march right now. John Russell, 1010 Winds outside the UN.
We are coming from Japan. Our country is the only country in the world that suffered the atomic bombing.
I was 27 when I was bombed in Hiroshima.
I never knew my husband's family because they all died from the atomic bomb. None of them survived. None of them. I had cancer operations when I was 23, and then 26, then 28. 2/3 of my stomach was removed. I came here to say that human beings have made a mistake in developing nuclear weapons. Our suffering should serve as a testament that the world should never again be devastated by the atomic bomb.
Okay, let's go! Okay, let's move!
in a nuclear war, whether it's limited or not. It's nonsense to talk about limited nuclear wars.
Possibly can. Thanks a lot.
I came because to me this isn't a political issue, it's a survival issue. And I think that people who are for almost anything, if you really sit down and listen to the facts, really would be for this. Specifically, I came today because I thought the more people who showed up, the more the United Nations would know how the people of this country are feeling about this issue, and it seemed real important to me. Because I think everybody's come out today. I don't think it's just any particular group or any side. It's not right or left, it's everybody.
I want to live. I want to be somebody. I want to be able to live and learn something. But I'm for anything that has the people united. The people united cannot be divided. That's what they were saying. That's all it's about. They said the black and Puerto Rican people aren't united. Look at them. Look at all of them.
Was it for you to get up here today?
We started at 5 a.m. from Leesburg, Virginia, Loudoun County. We're Loudoun County Citizens for Nuclear Disarmament. We're supporting the freeze. Our county council passed a freeze resolution just 2 months ago, the day after we had our very first meeting. Now I've got to move on. My sign's going. Goodbye, friends.
The message that Reagan stopped the nuclear bombs soon, because our minds will not change unless he stops.
They were the UN at 10, and then they're marching in a body up here.
Exactly.
Which probably means that they've started, right?
They've started marching, which means that they should be here within the next hour. The world is a dangerous place to live in right now, and it seems to me that this is a chance for everybody to express, for once and for all, exactly how we feel about that danger of living under the umbrella of nuclear weapons.
I also think that the fact that this is the biggest rally that New York City has ever seen represents, how much people have really wanted to express some feelings around this subject, that it's been such a repressed issue and such an uncomfortable feeling for so many people for so long, that for them to have the opportunity finally to be able to show how they feel about it, there's an incredible amount of energy surrounding it. Lots of the efforts that were made around this rally, posters and stuff for various things that were done around the city. When you would call people and ask them to do stuff, everybody wanted to do it for nothing and volunteer their services, and said how glad they were to have a chance to do something, because people get to feel like they matter again, and that the way they feel can affect things, and that they're connected with other people and with what's happening in the world, because it's really the powerlessness that's come out of this arms race is some ways the most dangerous thing about it, the fact that it's made people feel that there's nothing they can do to control a really terrible destiny that's closing in on them.
It's a great, I think it'll be a cathartic experience for people to understand that there are kindred spirits out there with kindred fears and kindred aspirations for peace and safety. And so that's why I think we're here.
And that Americans Americans just as a people may have a very different feeling about what our foreign policy should be than what the government thinks it should be. And it's important that that get expressed and we form some kind of solidarity with all of the other people of the world who don't want to get blown up. They just want to live their lives.
The people who are here, who are marching, coming in from around the country, I believe have a cause. They're here to save their lives, the lives of their children. And the rally, everything that goes with it, I'm for it. Will it be used by other groups for their own personal ends and gains? Definitely. People are selling the sweatshirts. The communists will use it for their own propaganda. But all in all, I feel if you discount the fringes of it and you go for the main idea, it's an excellent idea. And if our people in this country, our leaders, take a look at it, we might get some idea of what's really wanted and needed in this world.
The main area is by the east lawn over there. You would have to go all the way around. See, this area is specifically for the marches that are coming through.
I see, okay.
All right, so if you go along the barricades and eventually find your way to the other end, even though I'm a police officer, I can still speak my political views. You know, my views, I think there should be total disarmament. No two ways about it.
And most of the guys you're working with?
Oh, I think so, sure.
It's the difference.
Not the just young generation coming on the job, it's the old timers like myself, you know. Not that I'm an old guy. I mean, I'm 22 going on 23. I look old. I had a hard life.
Do you have any kids?
I have 3 kids. But I'm with this 100%. You know, I think it's a good cause. Somebody sooner or later is going to push the button, and the one that's losing is going to escalate it. Believe me, I believe that's the way it's going to happen. Everything, when it's done in mass, people listen. We expect 500,000 today. It's going to be in the papers, world coverage. There's going to be a lot of, you know, reporters here today just seeing how it goes. Hopefully they'll get some kind of a point across.
And you have children?
I have children.
What do you think about nuclear weapons in their future?
One of my kids is going to be in this thing here.
Marching?
Marching.
So you approve of that march?
I'm not making any comments with respect to that.
Well,
but I'm not telling my child not to march. You can draw your own conclusions on that.
John Hall is having a nice new song. I got to teach you because they're singing it up there and you won't know. It's actually a rock song.
Fine with me. I knew he'd break down. Sooner or later.
See the sky, hear our children cry. Happy intend to live, and it's the bomb that has to die. Feel the earth, see the sky, hear our children cry. Happy intend to live, and it's the bomb that has to die.
Are you going to hang out with us here in the children's park? I thought we might. We just left the West Side March. We came into the park. We thought we'd go try to pick up the march as it comes up Central Park West.
Great. They've got a radio over there, and they're listening to the progress. If you want to see where they
that nuclear weapons are abolished from the face of the earth, because all of us want to live, and we want life for our children and our grandchildren.
Do you think we're going to make it to the year 2000?
Absolutely. If we continue to press for this, we will. But the people are speaking.
This demonstrates that there is hope for the world. If it goes universal, there is hope for the world.
Oh, I'm so overwhelmed. I've been to rallies before, but this is a lifetime experience. It seems like the whole country is on the move.
We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing for our lives. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing for our lives. We are a peaceful, loving people, and we are singing for our lives. We are a peaceful, loving people, and we are singing
out so far back there, it's hard to sing like a choir. But if everyone sings in their own place, it will sound like one, which is sort of how we're going to have to do anti-nuke work. Each one of us doing our own little part, but the effect is going to be monumental. So please sing with us. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for our lives. We are a gentle, angry people, and we are singing, singing for all our that there are marchers still marching up 1st Avenue, 2nd Avenue, 3rd Avenue, 6th Avenue, 7th Avenue, 8th Avenue, and they have not yet left the UN completely. I don't know where we're going to put everybody, but I don't hear anybody complaining.
Rejoice, friends, we've done it. This is the biggest peacetime peace movement in the history of the United States. The politicians don't believe it yet, but they will. We will not go home and be quiet. We will go home and organize. We demand that the decency of this nation be restored.
This movement is spreading. It used to be a narrow little sect of peaceniks congratulating themselves on their exclusiveness. Now, whenever you get a coalition, you're going to feel yourself uncomfortable, side by side with people you never expected to be there.
That's right.
And today, I hope there's a lot of people out there saying, gee, where'd all these people come
That's what America's about.
I'm from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
I'm from Chicago.
East Orange, New Jersey.
Wayne County, Pennsylvania.
Here in New York, Brooklyn.
Montreal. Great Neck.
Los Angeles.
I'm from Ohio, from Cincinnati, and I think this is where everybody should be.
I'm from Bloomington, Illinois, where I teach small children, and I'm here because of those kids in particular. I'm very, very concerned about their future, and I want them to be able to live in a more peaceful world. I want them to have some kind of a future.
I'm from Ohio. I'm here because I think it's very important for world leaders to know that the people believe it's time to stop settling problems with war and to try to find new ways to settle problems.
I'm a farm woman from Grays Harbor, and I'm here because you needed some farmers here.
We're from Royersford, Pennsylvania, and we're here because we want to stop the weapons that are escalating, and we're also Christians, and we feel that it's really important. Christ said we should have peace with everyone, and that's, I think, one of the main reasons that we're here.
These people are going back to their communities. They're going to speak up in their church or their school or their union or their service club or in the local bar.
On election day, too.
Well, when we came out of Grand Central Station, apparently the march had already started. So we just joined up there rather than, and we would have had to cut through an enormous crowd to get to the other side to be able to go by the UN. I guess from what they said on the radio that there are still people there coming here.
Don't you think these people aren't marching in support of the Soviet Union, but rather against the fear that nuclear weapons might kill us?
Yes, some of them are, but the nuclear arms won't kill us if we're strong. If we're weak, nuclear arms may be able to kill us. But they're under delusion. They say that the nuclear arms are going to destroy the world. That's a fallacy. Jesus Christ is coming back one of these days. The earth will be here and be a lot of people. He'll catch into the clouds. And these people are listening to the devil. The devil's headquarters in Moscow.
I've come over from England to protest this so-called peace march and demonstration that's taking place. I represent 3 groups in Great Britain. Our groups promote multilateral disarmament. We're, as any sane person would be, for peace and disarmament. But the great question is, how do you achieve this? Is it peace at any price, or is it peace with a plan that works in a real world? Now, these people we consider dangerously naive and unilaterally one-sided.
Don't listen to the communists. Don't be misled. Don't be deceived. You're wrong with you. They're going with us. They're going with you.
Hello, I'm Winona LaDuke. And what I'm here for, and I think that all of you are here for too, is to honor the earth. We have a call here for disarmament that I'm going to read to you so that we can be clear in our minds as to what honoring the earth is about, because nuclear weapons are not a part of that. We are here today in a massive, peaceful demonstration to support the Second United Nations Special Session on Disarmament, to call for a freeze and reduction of nuclear weapons and a transfer of military budgets to fund human needs.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, 3,000 of you have silver balloons. It is written on those balloons, "Say goodbye to nuclear weapons." We will say and wave goodbye to these balloons symbolically, and it would be an awesome thing if we were able to do this in reality. All right, is everyone ready? All together, starting on 10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Goodbye, nuclear weapons. Forever goodbye.
No more war. We want to live in peace. We want to unite everywhere, all over the world. Let's get it together.
Changes, but the things were very bad. Jack put his guiding hand on me and showed me what I knew. He led me into music, 'cause that was what he played. Now I use my voice to serve him, for I'm a daughter of Zion. To make the land and waters, he made the moon and stars. But man thinks he can make it better, but now it's gonna be too far. He building mighty weapons and he raising building stars. But Jaja, he's the master, and he knows when they'll fall. They must fall, yeah. That's the way Jaja planned it, yeah. That's the way Jaja planned it now. 'Cause that's the way Jaja planned it, yeah. That's
We want to live. We don't want to die. Life is beautiful.
Are we aware that even as we stand here at this moment, even as we are enjoying the beauty of our music and our cultures, somewhere someone can press the button, whether by design or by accident, and in the twinkling of an eye, we could be wiped off the face of civilization. Are we aware, you folks on Wall Street, or you on Madison Avenue, are you aware that in the twinkling of an eye, you too can be wiped out? Whether we be black or white, men or women, the time is now come for us to rise up for the sake of our lives, for the sake of our country, for the sake of the world. Let there be life. We fight for life.
The children's disarmament area is open now in the band shell if parents want to take their kids there. There's plenty of room and there'll be a lot of entertainment.
As parents concerned about nuclear war, we felt that some of the speeches in the main area would inevitably be frightening. We weren't really sure that all children would be ready to handle it. So we thought we'll create our own area so that we can stand up and be counted and yet not terrify our children.
I think it's wonderful that you've all taken the trouble to come out here today for this demonstration. A lot of people will tell you, old sourpuss types, older people, that nothing does any good, that demonstrations don't do any good. I don't believe that. I think every one of you who's here today is sending a message that you don't want war. I want you also to write to the president and tell him we don't want more arms. We want food and we want better schools. It's very embarrassing to a president to get letters from children showing that children realize how wrong the president and the senators are.
Where have all the flowers gone? Long time passing. Where have all the flowers gone? Long time ago. Where have all the flowers gone? Young girls pick them, everyone. When will they ever learn? When will they ever?
Well, my family, I've raised 8 children, and we've been involved in peace work since the early civil rights days. And this is our 3rd generation to join us in working for peace. Children are what this is about. I might make it out, you know, but I'm very concerned that whether my grandchildren will.
Where have all the graveyards gone? Gone the flower, everyone. When will they ever learn? When will they ever learn?
Where have all the flowers gone?
Where have all the flowers gone? Long time passing. And where have all the flowers gone? Long time ago. And where have all the flowers gone? Young girls pick them, everyone. When will they ever learn? When will they ever learn?
I think that things are very dangerous for the future of my child and children all over the world. I think something really has to be done, and it has to be done now. That's why I'm here, because I don't think there's much time left. And I think that, you know, if we don't do it now, then we're leaving the future of our children to the hands of the Reagans of the world, and I don't really have a choice. I think it's a necessity to be here.
Feel the earth, see the sky, hear our children cry, that if we intend to live, then it's the bomb that has to die. Feel the earth, see the sky, hear our children cry, that if we intend to live, then it's the bomb that has to die. Let's get everybody singing it. Everyone. Here we go. Feel the earth, see the sky, hear our children cry, that if we intend to live, then it's the bomb that has to die.
Pete Seeger.
It's inspiring for me to see this magnificent demonstration of people of all races, religions, and nations united today for one great cause, the cause of peace with justice.
There is not one of us who doesn't know that out there on the sunny side of the security blanket, this living world of ours has never known a single moment of such deadly jeopardy.
The moral issue is the sin of using the world's resources to kill people instead of using them to keep people alive.
We have spent trillions building one of the most powerful military forces in history. Yet we are faced with a terrible truth. No matter how much we spend on nuclear weapons, we stand just 30 minutes away from destruction. The fate of the earth is in our hands.
As I watch the people go by now, I see your neighbor and mine, very ordinary-looking people, many of them in this march today. So it's an interesting mix of people.
It certainly is. Thank you, Art. Our coverage on WABC from the United Nations Plaza will continue.
Well, basically, the idea is that boys should take their hands off the world, you know, because the world isn't theirs to ruin, destroy. No, I think it's kind of immediately recognizable. You know, there's all the sexual connotation with missiles, you know, and the Earth receiving the missiles, you know, and the ultimate orgasm of the Hiroshima bomb, and it's very sexual, you know. But there's also a complete objectification in that, you know. There's no connection between consequence and action.
Do you think it's going to do any good, this rally?
It better. It better. Look at all these people. I mean, there's so many thousands of people here. It's got...
Thousand I walked by already.
I don't know, about 500,000.
What would you guess?
I have no idea. A lot of people. I'd say so far about 178,000. Give or take a few. What's wrong with that? You call me a liar?
You just don't know how to count.
Who doesn't know how to count? No, there is a way of counting.
Oh, come on, 178,000. You're kidding me.
Of a wife who lost her husband. They marched all the way from Canada with their children, stayed together, and somehow he got lost once they got to Manhattan. The police hope that situation will have a happy ending.
Here you all are lost. Yep, what happened? I don't know.
He's not real lost. I'm his mother. We're all lost. His mother and his 3 brothers and his sister.
How did that happen? Oh!
We didn't know that the parade was going to split up.
Uh-huh.
So I told my husband that I would wait for him wherever the parade entered the park, and then I found out about 2 hours later that the parade entered at 2 different places. So he has the diapers and the milk and the food and the clothes and the money and everything.
Have you enjoyed being here today otherwise?
Oh, yeah. Well, we walked 840 miles to get here, so...
From where?
Toronto.
You walked?
Yeah, we're part of the World Peace March. My husband walked from San Francisco.
Unbelievable. That's incredible.
What's incredible is that I'm lost.
Más importante era subir aquí a su carrera. También oímos la cantante George Bayer que nos dijo que
The show wasn't on the big stage. Here, backstage, behind the big speakers, the stars came out too.
Why did you become involved in this? Any particular reason?
Like the about the mountain, Dylan, and
Impression of the turnout as far as the performing arts. What are your expectations for the future? What do you hope to gain? Tell us a little bit about your involvement. What brought you into the nuclear disarmament movement?
I'm here because I feel like millions of people feel around the world that something has to be done about the arms race, the madness that's going on.
Is anybody listening, do you think?
Of course they're listening. There's going to be over 500,000 people here. It has to be a statement, and the statement's going to grow larger and larger and larger.
People have come from all over the country. They're coming from all over the city in all avenues, all walks and paths of life, all converging in the air, on the land, probably everywhere but by the sea, all coming together this afternoon to express what the world has been feeling for so long and what we've been feeling privately. Now we get to express collectively.
The great thing about America is that we have this democracy of the people, by the people, and for the people.
So we have a chance to actually get to express this. But I'm sure that if they were able to have similar rallies in Moscow today, that the people would probably feel exactly the same way. And so the idea is to try to influence our governments to express the will of the people.
Everyone here feels good because they seem to be in charge of their own lives just by showing up and rubbing elbows with everyone. You feel like you're glad you're a person and in charge of your life, and we all are. I mean, Republicans, Democrats, old people, young people, middle-aged people like us. And what we have here is we're dealing in the possible. All probabilities exist, but the fact that we're all here, it's more probable that we're going to lick this nuclear thing, and they're going to listen to us, and otherwise we're not going to elect them.
Your friend alone! Oh, it's not good to have wars.
Why not?
Because they shoot guns and knives and stuff. And big bombs, too.
Talk to me. Talk to here.
Tell Peter here. What can we do to stop wars?
I know. There's nothing to do. You have to shoot back.
You have to what?
Shoot back.
Shoot back?
Well, I'll tell you what I want for my children.
Oh, Jerry.
All my life, what I wanted for my children.
Peace and quiet.
The things I wanted for myself.
You being
I'm
serious?
not a hypocrite.
You know what we want? We want them to grow up and have children that will torture them the way they're torturing us. And their children will have children. We want them to go on. We want them to just live. That's what we want. That's why we're here at this whole thing.
What are we doing with these crazy atom bombs? When are we gonna put them things away? What good will they do? They'll all be dead and gone, leaving the earth a radiated gray. Won't be nothing growing, won't be nothing left alive. Man done found a key, now he can kiss it all goodbye. Headed for extinction, we didn't even get past dawn. Too late to wait, we got lemonade to buy. Everything's been set up, bombs are all in place. How can it happen? How can it all be true? Finger on the trigger, to be the end of the human race. Thinking about it's more than we can do. Can't blame it on Einstein, can't blame it on anyone. Don't look to find the blame, look to shut down and bomb. The missiles whistle and the Holocaust is on. It's too late to bomb. Right now the earth's in danger, it's our precious only home. We're still thinking we're living in yesterday. Got to find a new way to do away with these atom bombs. They're keeping us from 1 foot in the grave. Raid shuttles won't help us. Don't start stocking up stew. We won't be saved by being selfish. Everybody's getting screwed. And it will be way too late when they turn the siren song. Too late to wait, we got to eliminate the bomb. Too late to wait, we got to eliminate the bomb.
Did you go to the rally today? Did you go to the rally?
We went to the museum.
I was in the middle.
Really?
No, we didn't. We were in the museum. We
Oh,
were
this
in the
is
museum, but we
television.
saw all the people
What
out
did you
there.
think about it?
I thought it was fantastic.
Really?
Absolutely. Yeah. So happy they turned out.
What do you think the message was for today?
I didn't hear the messages at all here.
Well, why do you think people were marching?
We don't want any more nuclear bombs.
We're not from New York, but we know what's going on.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce the woman who taught us all about nuclear madness, the founder of Physicians for Social Responsibility, Dr. Helen Caldicott.
I'm going to describe what happens when a bomb drops on a city. But as I do remember that there are probably 65 hydrogen bombs targeted on New York City alone. I'm going to drop a 20 megaton bomb right on this great lawn as ground zero. It would vaporize every person out to a radius of 6 miles from here and destroy every building. It would kill every person or lethally injure every person out to 20 miles, producing hundreds of thousands of dreadful, dreadful burns. It takes us 6 months to treat a burn patient. All those people would die with radiation sickness, their hair falling out, trapped under buildings in dreadful, dreadful pain, with no drugs to help them. In 30 days after a nuclear war, up to 90% of Americans and Russians and Europeans and English could be dead. The new bombs Reagan wants to build, Trident II and MX, are first strike weapons. 17,000 he wants to build in the next 10 years. His motto is, arm to disarm. Most politicians who've endorsed the freeze proposal, you should know, are still authorizing funds for all the nuclear weapons. Watch those politicians. Don't believe what they're saying. Watch what they do. Use your democracy. Make sure every single one of you vote, and all your families and all your friends. America can save the world. And remember, we're talking about the babies. Will we be survived? And remember, there aren't communist babies or capitalist babies. A baby is a baby is a baby.
Becoming much more conscious of my responsibility to other human beings and the planet and the whole situation since I've had a daughter, because she's obviously going to be around a lot longer than I am. And I hope she will be.
We're not safe in our own lands. We're not safe in our own homes. And our children will certainly feel it. I know they feel it. And I do too.
I found increasingly that I've been looking at my daughter, who's 4.5, and being profoundly concerned about whether she's going to have a life.
I'm afraid to have children. I'm 21 years old. I intend on getting married sooner or later. I don't want to bring children into this world with what's going on.
When you're down and troubled and you need some love and care, and nothing, oh, nothing's going right, Just close your eyes and think of me, and soon I will be there to brighten up, yeah, even your darkest night. You just call out my name, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. The winter, spring, summer, or fall, you all you got to do is call on me, baby, and I'll be there, I'll be there, I'll be there. Ain't it good to know you've got a friend? People can be so cold, they'll hurt you, and they'll desert you. They'll take your soul if you let them. No, but don't you let them. You just call out my name, call it out, and you know wherever I am, I'll come running just as fast as I can to see you again. Oh, darling, don't you know about winter, spring, summer, or fall? All you got to do is call on, hold on me, and I'll be there, but I'll be there, baby. You got a friend, got a friend in me, dear. Talking about everybody, dear. You got a friend in me, dear. Want to take some consolation in one thing. Ain't good to know, yeah, yeah, yeah. You've got a friend.
I wish all of you could stand where I am and look at you, and you would be awestruck at the strength and power which you represent. You are tremendous.
I think we also ought to pay tribute to New York's finest, the police. There hasn't been one incident, not one incident in this entire rally. Let's hear it for the police.
There are 800,000 people right here. There are 200,000 more people who are arriving. 1 million people. The largest single demonstration in the history of this country. I've got a question for 1 million people. Do you want to freeze the arms race? Do you think that Ronald Reagan is going to freeze the arms race? We need your help in Congress. When the music stops today, when the music is finished, when you've gone home, the fight must go on. It is time for the United States and the Soviet Union to freeze. The whole world is watching. The whole world is listening.
Oh, la, la,
basic justice. Over 100 years ago. It is as true today as it was then. If we say no more nukes, we're going to have to struggle for that. If we say no more war, we're going to have to struggle for that. He said, if there is no struggle, there can be no progress. Those who profess the faith of freedom and get deficit education, they want the crops without plowing up the ground. They want the rain without thunder and lightning. They want the ocean without the awful roar of its many waters. He said, this struggle may be a moral one, or it may be a physical one, but it got to be a struggle. Because power conceives nothing without the man. It never did, never will.
It never will.
Never did,
It never did.
never will.
It never will. There is no struggle. There can be no progress. If there is no struggle, there can be no progress.
He said,
If there is no struggle, there can be no progress. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are created among men and women, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed.
Take this home with you. If there is no struggle, there can be no progress. You know what I mean? Hard times is trying to break our back, but there just won't be no stuff like that. Man, just look around you. Check it out. It's hot over here. Is it hot out there? It's hot up here. Is it hot out there? We're going to struggle up here. When you struggle out there. There is no struggle.
There's plenty for people to do. Everybody's got to work. Everybody's got to communicate politically with their representatives. Albert Einstein said the only way the world would be rid of nuclear weapons is if the people of the world rise up.
The old days, if you wanted to be a good parent, you did certain things. You gave your sons and daughters certain education. But now I think what you must do for them is to organize.
Monday there are demonstrations. Not tomorrow, but on Monday there will be demonstrations in front of the different embassies.
Martin Luther King once said, "I have a dream." But he exhorted us also to action with the words, "The final tragedy is not the evil of evil people, but the silence of good people. And that time for silence is now over. Together we are many, and together we are strong, and together we shall force the world's leader to obey our demands. Cut the military budget, redirect resources to meet human needs, freeze and reduction of all nuclear weapons."
We in the United States have a special responsibility as the first nation to develop nuclear weapons, and as the only nation to date to use them on human beings. We have a very special responsibility to take the first step in taking them apart.
Reagan administration dares to propagate the doctrine of a limited nuclear war. Let us think what the aim of such a reckless attempt is. I earnestly wish that they would think how they would feel if they were made a nuclear victim. Japanese government committed grave atrocities during the war for which I am ashamed and feel repentance. Whoever he or she is, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not take away life, thou shalt not belittle the dignity of life. This is the law of nature. Please, Mr. Reagan, please, Japanese leaders of the government, if you really have warm blood in your hearts, if you truly have compassion and love for others, I urge you to act accordingly to Moses' 10 Commandments.
I knew that many people who are yearning for peace would participate today, but I could never have imagined that the gathering would be so immense. I am deeply moved. My doctor did his best so I would be able to take part in today's event, and I was determined to come to America, even at the risk of my life. If the American government, despite knowing what we have suffered, and after seeing this enormous gathering of people pleading for nuclear disarmament, still intends to use nuclear weapons, then I feel I must come to America again and again to protest, even if I were to collapse on the plane or during the demonstration.
I am ordering your arrest at this time for disorderly conduct.
There are demonstrators from 34 states and 9 countries participating in the civil disobedience today at the United States mission, the Soviet mission, the Chinese mission, British mission, and the French mission to the United Nations.
We're here to take part in this nonviolent blockade. It's very important that people understand we will not be fighting with police, we will not be destroying property in any way, and we are here to make a statement about the dangers of nuclear war.
Sir, you have any feelings about going to work today? Do you have any feelings about the demonstrators today, sir?
We're doing this for humanity, and that includes police are humanity too. They're human beings. It's not an us and them situation. We're in this for all of us, and all of us includes them.
We're going in the city bus.
Yep. What a great idea. Free ride. I don't have any tokens.
I'm gonna lay my body down by the Russian embassy.
By going to the Soviet mission, we are standing in solidarity and support with those behind the Iron Curtain who have great difficulty in speaking for themselves.
We're gonna study war no more. No one's against peace.
What's like being against
My father always said there never was a bad peace or a good war, right?
44th is
It's true. Take it any way you want.
Oh, it is.
The police were great,
and a lot of them said, "Look, we're with you. We believe in what not necessarily the way we did it, but they're concerned about nuclear weapons too."
It was very clear that they were doing their job, but they, in spirit, really are with us.
Not all of them, but a lot of them.
The one we talked to.
Yeah.
The thing is, we can go back and get arrested again.
If we go back and get arrested again, it will be a more serious offense, apparently.
Well, there's other things we can do after today is over. It doesn't end today, it just begins.
If I had a hammer, I'd hammer in the morning, I'd hammer in the evening, all over this land. Everybody!
Peace, you have to fight. If we want to disarm, you have to fight. You have to struggle for it. This is not enough. One day is not enough. One demonstration is not enough. It's continuous. It's from now on.
We have some people that are very vocal and are asking people to quit their jobs if they work in nuclear power plants or places that produce arms. We have people that are working for tax resistance. We have people that are working to organize in communities to start with peace in the individual, local, neighborhood, family level. There are all kinds of ways to work for peace.
Well, I got a hammer! I got a bell! And I got a song! And I got a song to sing all over this
grassroots movement, and I think inevitably there'll be large get-togethers, and I hope that they'll all be celebrations as this one was.
Help stop bombs.
You think it's going to work?
Yeah.
Feel the air, see the sky, hear our children's children cry. If we're gonna live, then it's the bomb that has to die. The people over here don't want it. I know the people over there feel the same. So it's time for the leaders to learn to follow. How can you love? How can you play? How can you work for a better day, knowing it could all be blown away tomorrow? Feel the earth, see the sky, hear our children's children cry. If we intend to live, then it's the bomb that has to die. Deep in our sleep, the earth, the mother, speaks to her children, saying, sisters and brothers, wake one another and take this one on together. The danger has never been so clear. The moment has never been so near. When it seems to me that it's here, it's now or never. We have got to feel the earth, see the sky, hear our children's children cry. That we intend to live, and it's the bomb that has to die. We intend to live, and it's the bomb